So I feel like it's like more like a cult following. Um, People who had decided to vote for Trump. Um, I feel like they were manipulated, and then I was seeing a lot of videos where people regret voting for him and putting him in office. And I made a post or a video about the CEO of the United Healthcare Systems. I know people, some are shocked that people are insensitive, but when you think about it, there are a lot of people who don't understand if they've been living good or if they've been allowed to somehow they've had means of resources and they've had good schooling, they've had good housing, they have a lot of things to be thankful for, but maybe they should think about where those things come from, because if it wasn't hard work, if it was more given to them, where is that coming from? And then when you're looking at people who are homeless and you're looking at people who don't have health care and people who are living almost, you know, day by day, they're having to decide, should they pay their bills, should they pay their rent, or should they eat? Um, and then you have a lot of people who are evicted from their homes. Some people are made homeless because they can't afford the rents that have increased um, dramatically over the years. These are real issues in some people's lives, and then there are others that just don't seem to really understand. They're far removed from that because they don't have the same excess of experiences, or they've had to struggle like someone else. So they might be looking at it as, oh, poor CEO. And you have these other people who are denied access to what I believe is human rights issues, which now we have a president who doesn't look at that as human right issues and wants to cut those things. Um, Healthcare, housing, having a place of shelter and rest, and then being able to just eat and to be with your family without being, interrupted because of some law that someone created to rip your family apart or to take some of the vital lifeline needs that you need for your family or yourself away from you because they want to save money for whatever. And these are people that have like millions, trillions of dollars. They're the richest people. They paid to put in office someone who only thinks about the wealthy and who only is for themselves. And it's really insensitive. That is political murder and death. That is an orchestration of killing many, many people. And if it is not emotional, it is also physical. It is both, I believe. And so that is where you get the reaction from those who don't feel sorry for the death of the CEO from the United Healthcare System, because there's multiple deaths that not only that system, but other healthcare systems in the US have created by denying claims from people who might need a life-saving medicine, surgery, and whatever else. And to have that happen And to see what just happened, it it's letting you know, it's giving you a warning signal that if this country gets any worse than what it already is, which I believe it will get worse under this regime of Trump, there's going to be more situations where you'll find people taking the law into their own hands, desperate measures, but it's out of an act of what has been done to them, the violence that has been created for them, not having regular basic needs. You would think that, okay, not everybody can live in mansions and afford yachts and private jets and whatnot, but to take away the most vital needs of like healthcare, housing, shelter, food from people, making it where they have to decide, do they eat or pay their rent? Those type of things like that will cause people to become more desperate, and they may act out. Not everybody's going to do what we saw this guy did do, but there might be other things that could happen, where people will take drastic measures um, to voice how they feel about what they've been experiencing in this country. So, America, we're learning, is not as free as people thought it was. Um, they've kind of hyped it up to make it seem like this is the best country in the world, but like any other country, we have our problems. And now the problems have been over the years growing to income inequality. We have racism like no other. And now we have elections that are manipulated by people who are wealthy. And they use their websites to manipulate the minds of voters. They've also gone so far as to have people burn ballot boxes, to take matters into their own hands. And you always see the voiceless never really being able to come forward and speak out loud enough that it is, resonating to a larger public. And it seems like when you're ignored for so long, you finally get fed up. And I believe that's what happened with the CEO killing of the person who is now deceased. And it is us, as we look at it, as the act is not good, and it's sad that a life is gone. But when you think about behind the person that is now gone, what was he doing, and how many multiple lives were taken, or people who might have died under the hands of that United Healthcare system that denied claims to people who probably needed life saving surgery, or they needed medicines, or they needed care and they weren't getting it, or they didn't have any health insurance and they needed it. And so when you look at all of that, it says a lot about this country and where it is headed in the direction that it's headed. So I just wanted to say that because I don't think people realize the severity of what is going on here in America. I know other countries have their problems, but we clearly are not perfect here in America. We have lots of issues, lots of problems, and now it's going to get worse under Trump, I believe. And we're prepared for what comes, but it isn't going to be good. And I believe that killing of the CEO was just the tipping point of what could occur more often than not because of what is going on here in America by shaving down the resources or the very much lifeline resources that people need who don't have a lot of money, who are not CEOs making six figures, who are not um, the wealthy class of population in America. And so we're seeing the beginning of something that could be the opening of a Pandora's box, and one that we don't really want to delve down into, but it is almost like it is being forced upon us. And this is why some people didn't want Donald Trump elected, because these things are becoming more evident now that it's not just only racial issues in America we're dealing with class issues. People who have money and those that don't have a lot of money. And it is becoming very, very clear now. Whenever you fall within any of those boundaries, and that could be anyone from any walk of life, from any racial background that just doesn't have money, doesn't have health care, you're really digging low, and you're now getting into a place where you're going to spark a lot of attention from those who have just finally gotten fed up. Because we're not only dealing with discrimination, racism, sexism, we're also dealing with classism. And that is not as narrow as, you know, racism in and of itself. It's not just a black and white thing only, but we also have a money thing going on, whether you have it or you don't. And that is going to make the discriminatory practices even more broader um, on the spectrum. And people are going to see, oh, well, I'm black, I'm being discriminated, or don't have any money, but now you're white and you don't have any money and you can't afford health care. And whether you're black, white, purple, or green, that resonates to an even broader population of folks. And people know what that feels like to need a life saving um, procedure and you can't get it, or you can't afford it. You can't afford the medicine, or you can't get this procedure done. So that might mean that you might die. And this is happening to thousands of people, maybe even more than thousands. And so, for something like that to happen and you don't see the reaction that you thought you were going to get, that's not a surprise. Because look at what we're under now. And so, I just wanted to say this. We're about to go into something, and I believe it is not going to get any better unless people decide we need to make a change and we need to help everyone, not just help one group of folks or one set of folks. We need to look at the bigger picture here and see where we've went wrong. But I really don't think that this group that has been elected sees that. I don't think they'll ever see that. And I think we've lost a lot here in America. And when they voted for Trump, America went downhill from that point, day one. That was when Pandora's ugly box was opened. Until next time. It doesn't want to go. Until next time. Okay.